Welcome back, the followers of Stoic Wisdom by Zeno. We've all been there, dealing with people who treat us like an afterthought or test our patience with passive-aggressive remarks and outright dismissiveness. It's exhausting, isn't it? But here's the thing. Respect isn't something you demand. It's something you embody. When others cross the line, how you respond can redefine the dynamic, not just for them, but for you too. Today, we're exploring 5 transformative ways to handle disrespect with the calm resilience of Stoic wisdom. These aren't your typical just let it go solutions. They're grounded in centuries-old philosophy, reimagined for the modern world. Each strategy is designed to help you reclaim your peace and confidence while setting an unshakable standard for how you deserve to be treated. This isn't about revenge or dramatic confrontations. It's about subtle yet powerful actions that send a clear message. You respect yourself too much to entertain negativity. Whether you're navigating difficult relationships, tense workplace dynamics, or random acts of disrespect, these tools will help you stay centered and unbothered. So, if you're tired of feeling small in the face of disrespect, stay with me. Together, we'll learn how to rise above the noise and live life with unbreakable self-worth. Let's begin. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join us for more empowering content to help you thrive with confidence and wisdom. Number 1, master the art of the silent pause. Let's talk about silence, not the kind that feels awkward or uncomfortable, but the kind that exudes power. In a world where everyone is rushing to speak, defend, and react, there's something profoundly commanding about choosing stillness. The silent pause isn't merely an absence of words. It's a deliberate, calculated tool to assert control, reclaim your space, and remind others that you're not easily shaken. Disrespect often thrives in chaos. Whether it's someone interrupting you, making passive-aggressive comments, or trying to undermine you, their behavior is often designed to provoke a reaction. They want to see you flustered, defensive, or scrambling for the right response. But when you meet their disrespect with intentional silence, the entire dynamic shifts. Suddenly, they're left scrambling, unsure how to fill the void you've created. Their power dissolves because they no longer have the reaction they were counting on. Here's the truth. Silence isn't a sign of weakness. On the contrary, it's one of the strongest displays of confidence and self-control you can show. When you choose to pause mid-conversation or after a rude remark, you send an unmistakable message. I'm in control of this situation. It's not about avoiding the issue or pretending nothing happened. Instead, it's about demonstrating that their words or actions aren't worthy of your immediate energy. Sometimes silence is louder than any words you could speak. Why does the silent pause work so effectively? It's simple. Most people aren't equipped to handle it. Silence forces them to confront their own behavior without the distraction of your reaction. It's like holding up a mirror, showing them their own rudeness, arrogance, or lack of respect. Instead of dragging you into their negativity, the silence leaves them alone with it. And that, in itself, is often enough to unsettle even the most confident of offenders. Disrespectful people thrive on emotional reactions. They want you to justify yourself, argue back, or show that their words have struck a nerve. A silent pause denies them that satisfaction. It says, I hear you, but I'm not stooping to your level. It's a quiet yet firm way of drawing a boundary without ever raising your voice. Mastering the silent pause requires intentionality and precision. It's not about standing there awkwardly or letting silence linger indefinitely. Instead, it's about using the pause as a tool of empowerment. Here's how you can do it effectively. When someone interrupts you or makes a cutting remark, resist the urge to react immediately. Instead, stop, take a breath, and hold their gaze. Let the silence hang for a moment. This simple act conveys, "I'm not rattled by your behavior, but I also won't tolerate it." That brief stillness can speak volumes. If someone disrupts you while you're speaking, don't try to talk over them. Instead, stop and wait. Silence can be incredibly uncomfortable for the interrupter, especially if others are present. Once they've finished or the room quiets, calmly resume where you left off without acknowledging the interruption. This non-verbal act asserts your place in the conversation without escalating the situation. There's also incredible power in using silence to emphasize disrespect. When someone crosses the line with their words, a moment of silence can create palpable tension. By refusing to react immediately, you let the weight of their words linger in the air, forcing them to confront what they've said. When you do choose to respond, your words carry far more impact because they follow deliberate stillness. I once struggled with the instinct to respond to every slight or jab. When someone made a snide remark or interrupted me, my first reaction was to defend myself or explain my perspective. But over time, I realized that reacting in the heat of the moment often left me feeling drained and frustrated. One day, during a meeting where a colleague repeatedly interrupted me, I decided to try something new. Instead of arguing or trying to reclaim my space verbally, I paused. I stopped speaking, turned to him, and waited. The silence stretched on for just a few seconds, but it felt like an eternity. The entire room turned to him, waiting to see what he'd do next. Flustered, he stumbled over his words and eventually fell silent. I calmly resumed my point, without a hint of frustration. That brief pause accomplished more than any argument could have. He interrupted me far less after that. The beauty of the silent pause is that it doesn't just affect the other person, it strengthens you too. Choosing silence teaches you to stay composed under pressure. It breaks the reactive cycle and allows you to embrace a more grounded, deliberate approach to conflict. Think of it as a moment of self-respect. When you pause, you're saying, "I don't need to engage with negativity to prove my worth." Instead of letting their behavior dictate your emotions, you create a moment of stillness to center yourself. In that stillness, you find clarity, confidence, and control. Mastering the silent pause is about more than just handling disrespect. It's a way of showing yourself and others that you're not easily shaken. It's about standing firm in your worth without needing to raise your voice or defend your position. So, the next time someone tries to provoke you, resist the urge to react immediately. Pause, breathe, and let the silence work its magic. Because here's the ultimate truth. Your silence can carry more authority than their words ever will. And that's a power no one can take away from you. How will you use the silent pause to handle disrespect in your daily life? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop your opinions in the comments below. If you found this technique inspiring or helpful, don't forget to like the video and hit subscribe for more empowering content. Number 2. Shift the narrative with a direct question. Let's face it, when someone disrespects you, it can feel like a punch to the gut. Your first instinct might be to defend yourself, snap back, or explain why they're wrong. But what if, instead of reacting emotionally, you could flip the script and leave them questioning their own behavior? One of the most empowering ways to handle disrespect is by shifting the narrative with a direct question. This approach is not only bold, but also a subtle way of reclaiming control in the moment. It puts the ball in their court, forcing them to confront their own intentions or rethink their words. It's less about confrontation and more about shining a light on their behavior in a way that's calm, confident, and impossible to ignore. When someone disrespects you, they're often trying to dominate the conversation, assert power, or poke holes in your confidence. They expect a reaction, whether it's defensiveness, anger, or nervous laughter. But when you respond with a simple, thoughtful question, it catches them off guard. A question like, "What made you feel that was necessary to say?" or "Why do you feel that's appropriate?" shifts the focus back to them. Suddenly, they're the ones who have to explain themselves. Their snide comment or dismissive tone is no longer a clever jab. It's a reflection of their own insecurity or poor judgment. By asking a direct question, you're not just defending yourself. You're challenging the entire dynamic of the interaction. The power of a direct question lies in its ability to expose the intentions behind someone's words or actions. Disrespect often hides behind a veil of casual comments or jokes, leaving you to wonder whether you're overreacting. A well-placed question strips away that ambiguity. It forces the person to either own up to their behavior or stumble while trying to justify it. Either way, you've taken control of the situation without raising your voice or lowering yourself to their level. The best part? You're not being confrontational, you're being curious. Curiosity is disarming. It keeps you composed while making them think twice before trying the same behavior again. Using a direct question to shift the narrative also demonstrates your confidence and self-respect. It says, "I'm not here to argue or play games. I respect myself enough to hold you accountable." When you respond with a question, you're showing that you're not afraid to address the situation head-on, but you're doing it on your terms. This approach not only diffuses the tension, but also leaves a lasting impression. It sends a clear message. You're not someone who can be easily disrespected or dismissed. I remember a time when someone at work would consistently undermine my contributions during meetings. They'd interrupt, make sarcastic remarks, and try to brush off my ideas as insignificant. For a while I tried to ignore it, thinking it would stop on its own. It didn't. One day, after being interrupted for the third time in a single discussion, I calmly looked at them and asked, "I'm curious, what makes you feel the need to interrupt me?" The room went silent. They stammered something about being in a rush, but the dynamic had already shifted. The tone of the conversation changed, and they were far more cautious with their comments after that. I didn't argue, explain myself, or get defensive. I simply asked a question that made them pause and reflect. What makes this technique so effective is its simplicity. You're not attacking the person or escalating the situation, you're asking for clarity. That clarity, however, forces them to face their own behavior in a way they can't easily deflect. It's not about winning the interaction, it's about maintaining your dignity and setting a standard for how you deserve to be treated. A direct question isn't just a response to disrespect, it's a way of asserting your boundaries with calm confidence. This technique also has a way of empowering you in the moment. When you choose to respond with a question instead of reacting emotionally, you're taking control of the narrative. You're refusing to let someone else dictate the tone of the interaction. And in doing so, you're reinforcing your own sense of self-worth. Over time, this becomes second nature. You stop feeling the need to justify yourself or prove your value to anyone who can't see it. Instead, you start living in a way that demands respect, without ever having to ask for it outright. How will you use this powerful technique in your daily life? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear how you plan to shift the narrative and take control of disrespectful interactions. And if you found this insight helpful, give the video a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit subscribe for more empowering strategies to handle life with confidence and grace. Number 3. Set boundaries with finality. Setting boundaries is often easier said than done, but it's one of the most empowering things you can do when dealing with people who don't respect you. Boundaries are more than just a way to protect yourself. They're a statement about your self-worth. They declare, "I value myself enough to decide how I deserve to be treated." Yet, too often, we hesitate to enforce them. Maybe we're worried about being perceived as rude or causing conflict. But here's the truth. Not setting boundaries allows others to dictate your energy, time, and emotions. If someone repeatedly crosses the line, it's time to draw it clearly, with finality, and without apology. Setting boundaries isn't about confrontation, it's about clarity. When someone disrespects you, they need to know exactly where the line is, and that it's not negotiable. For example, if someone constantly interrupts or dismisses you, respond calmly but firmly with something like, "I'm speaking right now, and I'd appreciate it if you let me finish." Say it without anger, without hesitation, and without leaving room for interpretation. This isn't about being aggressive, it's about being assertive. You're not attacking them, you're simply standing up for yourself. Boundaries, when communicated with calm confidence, are far more powerful than emotional outbursts or passive avoidance. The key to setting boundaries is to be direct. Don't dilute your message or soften your words to make the other person feel more comfortable. That only invites them to push further. For example, instead of saying, "I think it would be better if you didn't talk to me like that," say, "I'm not okay with how you're speaking to me, and it needs to stop." Do you see the difference? The first is tentative and leaves room for negotiation. The second is clear, confident, and leaves no doubt that your boundary is non-negotiable. Boundaries with finality also mean being prepared to enforce them. If someone continues to cross the line after you've clearly set it, you need to follow through with action. This could mean limiting your interaction with them, removing yourself from a toxic situation, or even ending the relationship altogether if the disrespect persists. This isn't about punishing the other person, it's about protecting your peace and showing that you take your boundaries seriously. When you enforce a boundary, you send a powerful message that you respect yourself enough not to tolerate repeated disrespect. I once had a colleague who would constantly make sarcastic comments about my work, masking them as jokes. At first, I tried laughing them off or ignoring them, but they continued, and it started to affect my confidence. Finally, I decided to set a clear boundary. The next time it happened, I looked them directly in the eye and said, "Your comments about my work are unhelpful, and I'd appreciate it if you stopped." There was a moment of awkward silence, but I didn't back down. They mumbled something about just joking, but they never made another comment like that again. That moment wasn't just about stopping their behavior. It was about reclaiming my confidence and my space. Setting boundaries also forces people to reflect on their behavior. When you calmly and firmly let someone know that their actions are unacceptable, it holds up a mirror to their conduct. Most people are so accustomed to pushing others' limits without consequences that encountering someone who stands their ground is unsettling. It forces them to reconsider how they treat you, and sometimes even others. But even if it doesn't, you've done something far more important. You've upheld your self-respect. When you set boundaries with finality, you also create space for healthier relationships. By clearly communicating what you will and won't tolerate, you attract people who respect you and repel those who don't. Your boundaries act as a filter, ensuring that only those who genuinely value you are in your inner circle. Over time, this not only improves the quality of your relationships, but also boosts your confidence and sense of self-worth. Knowing that you have the power to protect yourself and create an environment that aligns with your values is a transformative experience. The beauty of setting boundaries is that it's not just about managing others, it's about managing yourself. It teaches you to prioritize your well-being and to let go of the guilt that often comes with saying no. It reminds you that you're not responsible for other people's reactions to your boundaries. Their feelings about your limits are theirs to manage, not yours. Your responsibility is to yourself, to protect your energy, your peace, and your self-respect. So, how will you use this powerful technique to set boundaries in your daily life? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Share your experiences in the comments below. And if you found this idea inspiring or empowering, give this video a like and don't forget to hit subscribe for more content designed to help you thrive. Your boundaries are your superpower. Use them well. Number 4. Respond with detachment. Let's talk about the power of detachment. When faced with people who disrespect you, it's natural to feel the urge to react, whether it's defending yourself, proving a point, or matching their energy. But here's a reality check. The more you engage, the more power you hand over. That's why learning to respond with detachment is one of the most liberating and transformative tools you can use. Detachment doesn't mean you don't care or that you're weak. It means you're choosing to prioritize your peace over their drama. And that's a choice rooted in strength, not indifference. When someone disrespects you, their goal is often to provoke a reaction. They want to pull you into their negativity, make you question yourself, or leave you feeling small. But when you respond with detachment, you deny them the reaction they're looking for. It's a way of saying, without words, I see what you're trying to do, but it's not going to work. This doesn't mean you have to ignore the behavior altogether. It means you address it with calm, measured energy, refusing to let their words or actions dictate your emotions. The beauty of detachment is that it shifts the focus back onto the person being disrespectful. When you remain calm and composed, they're forced to sit with their own behavior, without the satisfaction of seeing you flustered or defensive. It's like holding up a mirror, allowing them to see their actions clearly, without the distraction of your reaction. Most people aren't prepared for this. They expect retaliation or an emotional outburst. Instead, detachment leaves them unsure of how to proceed, often neutralizing the situation entirely. Responding with detachment is an act of self-respect. It's a reminder to yourself that you don't have to absorb someone else's negativity or make their opinions your truth. Their disrespect says more about them than it does about you. By choosing detachment, you're reclaiming your power and sending a message that their behavior is a reflection of their own insecurities, not your worth. It's a quiet but powerful way of maintaining control over your own emotions and energy. I remember a time when someone close to me constantly undermined my choices. Every decision I made seemed to be met with sarcasm or unsolicited criticism. At first, I felt the need to explain myself, to defend my decisions, and even to argue back. But no matter what I said, their behavior never changed. It only seemed to escalate. One day, I decided to stop engaging. When they made a cutting remark, I simply nodded or responded with a neutral, "I hear you," and moved on. It wasn't easy at first. Staying detached when someone is pushing your buttons can feel like swimming against the current. But over time, I noticed something remarkable. Without my emotional reactions to feed off, their comments became less frequent and less cutting. Eventually, they stopped altogether. Detachment didn't just protect my peace, it shifted the dynamic of the relationship entirely. The power of detachment lies in its ability to keep you centered. When you detach from the need to prove yourself or gain someone's approval, you free yourself from their control. You no longer feel compelled to match their energy or meet their expectations. Instead, you remain rooted in your own values and self-worth, untouchable by their negativity. This doesn't mean you become passive or avoid setting boundaries. On the contrary, detachment allows you to enforce your boundaries with calm confidence rather than emotional reactivity. Detachment isn't about suppressing your feelings or pretending not to care. It's about acknowledging your emotions without letting them dictate your response. It's about recognizing that you can't control how others behave, but you can control how you respond. When you detach, you're choosing not to carry the weight of someone else's disrespect. You're choosing to protect your energy and prioritize your mental and emotional well-being. So, how do you respond with detachment? Start by taking a moment to breathe before you react. When someone disrespects you, pause and ask yourself, do I need to engage with this? Does their opinion really matter? Often you'll find that the answer is no. When you respond, keep it brief and neutral. A simple, "I disagree," or "that's your opinion," is often enough. By refusing to get drawn into their negativity, you're showing that their words have no power over you. Responding with detachment is a skill that takes practice, but the rewards are immeasurable. The next time someone disrespects you, try it for yourself. Take a step back, detach emotionally, and respond with calm clarity. Notice how it changes not only the interaction, but also how you feel afterward. You'll find that you walk away lighter, freer, and more in control of your own narrative. How will you use this powerful technique in your daily life? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Number 5. Walk away and stay away. Walking away might seem like the simplest action, but in reality, it's one of the most profound displays of strength and self-respect. It's not about giving up or avoiding confrontation. It's about deciding what and who is worth your energy. When you choose to walk away and stay away from people who consistently disrespect you, you're sending a powerful message. You value your peace, your dignity, and your happiness above their negativity. It's a bold, unapologetic declaration that says, "I'm not here to endure what doesn't serve me." Disrespectful people often rely on the idea that you'll stay to argue, to justify, to prove yourself, or to fix what they've broken. But the truth is, you owe them nothing. Your presence isn't a privilege they get to exploit. By walking away, you're reclaiming your power and setting a boundary they can't ignore. It's not about burning bridges or making dramatic exits. It's about quietly choosing yourself over their harmful behavior and staying away. That's the ultimate act of self-respect, ensuring you're not drawn back into the same toxic cycle. Walking away doesn't always feel easy. There's often guilt, fear, or even societal pressure to make things work with people who don't treat you well. Maybe it's a friend who's been in your life for years, but every interaction leaves you feeling drained. Maybe it's a co-worker whose disrespect poisons your day, but who you feel obligated to tolerate. Or maybe it's a family member, and the weight of cultural or familial expectations makes walking away seem impossible. But here's the truth. Your well-being matters more than anyone's expectations. Walking away isn't about abandoning people. It's about refusing to abandon yourself. Every time you choose to stay in a situation where you're disrespected, you send a subconscious message to yourself that you're okay with being treated that way, but you're not. You deserve relationships that uplift you, spaces that inspire you, and interactions that respect you. Walking away from toxic people or environments isn't about weakness. It's about recognizing your worth and protecting it fiercely. It's about deciding that your energy is sacred and shouldn't be wasted on those who continually drain or disrespect it. I remember a time when I struggled to walk away from someone who consistently belittled me. Every conversation felt like a subtle attack, masked as humor or concern. I kept convincing myself to stay because I didn't want to seem rude or create tension. But every time I left those interactions, I felt smaller, questioning my choices and doubting myself. One day, I realized I couldn't keep sacrificing my peace for someone who showed no intention of changing their behavior. I walked away, not with anger, not with an argument, but with quiet confidence. I decided that their opinion of me was far less important than my opinion of myself. Staying away wasn't easy at first, but over time, I realized how much lighter and freer I felt without their negativity clouding my life. And that freedom, it's worth every ounce of discomfort that comes with making the decision to leave. Walking away is also a powerful example for others. When you set the standard for how you expect to be treated, you inspire those around you to do the same. It's a ripple effect. By refusing to tolerate disrespect, you're not just standing up for yourself. You're showing others that it's okay to demand better in their own lives. People will notice your quiet strength, your refusal to settle, and they'll respect you more for it, even if they don't say it out loud. Of course, there will be those who criticize you for walking away. They'll say you're being too harsh, that you're overreacting, or that you're not giving the other person enough chances. But remember, you don't owe anyone an explanation for prioritizing your peace. The people who truly respect and care about you will understand, and those who don't, well, they're the reason you're walking away in the first place. Staying true to yourself isn't always comfortable, but it's always worth it. So how do you embrace this powerful technique in your own life? Start by listening to your intuition. You know when someone consistently crosses the line, when their presence drains more than it adds, when their words or actions make you question your worth. Trust yourself enough to take that first step away. It doesn't have to be dramatic. Sometimes it's as simple as saying no to an invitation, declining a conversation, or gradually reducing contact. Over time, staying away becomes easier as you fill your life with people and experiences that align with the respect and love you deserve. Now, let me hear from you. How will you use this powerful technique in your daily life? Have you ever walked away from someone who didn't respect you, and how did it change your perspective? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear your story. And if you found this empowering, don't forget to like the video and hit subscribe for more content that helps you protect your peace and thrive with confidence.